Welcome once again to the book review for The Evolving Analyst. And today we have one more contributing author in the book, Igor Arkhipov. Arkhipov, I hope I pronounced your last name properly, Igor.
Yes, that's perfectly correct. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for having me here.
You're very welcome. Now, Igor has his article in the book is entitled The Evolving Role of a Business Analyst, and it's in the digital transformation section of the book. And Igor really, his article tends to really examine how the BA role has expanded beyond these traditional requirements um, into sort of this broader change and value shaping capability. And he explains that effective analysts operate across scope, quality, delivery by applying judgment, contextual understanding and influence. So thanks once again, Igor, for joining us here today.
Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for inviting me.
You're very welcome. One question we'll start with. Now, you argue that the BA role isn't just analysis anymore. So what do you think scares people about that idea or scares BAs about that idea?
Um, that's an interesting question. I don't think there's anything that should scare people in this idea per se, because you know what, if you think about a business analyst as a role, right, it has always been more than just analysis, than just being an analyst. It was more about being that driver for a change, and that's what I'm talking about in the article. What happens is, we've got these waves of transformation, right? Many years ago, we had, the first wave of automation. Then the internet became a thing. Then everybody was obsessed about process reengineering. And then agile came. And then um, digital transformation started to happen. Now we've got AI transformation. God knows what will happen over the next 5 years, right? There's transformation after transformation. And with every wave of transformation, there is a reshuffle of roles and responsibilities within organizations. So the thing with business analysis is, regardless of what is the nature of transformation, there should be someone who can help frame the change and guide the change. And that is what a business analyst is a good candidate to do. So what might be scary about it, well, I don't like the word scary, right? What might be slightly maybe challenging around it is, we've never tried applying our skill set to this new upcoming wave of transformation. But the same was true last time and the time before that.
Hmm.
We will need to learn and adapt, and maybe learn by trial and error a little bit. But I don't think it is going to be fundamentally different for professionals to adapt going forward. So I think, yeah, the main cause of concern for people might be, how how do we apply our skills, and how the job descriptions of the future are going to shape around this new view of the world. So for people who are business analysts today, right? It is about, just evolving, going with the flow, and I guess, keeping their senses heightened to just not miss when the role starts to kind of shape a little bit differently. For people who are not of the business analysis background, it's actually interesting. I think the question is, well, for them, the scary part is whether business analysts stay where they are today, or whether the people with this skill are going to start absorbing some other responsibilities and merging them together. So I think there's also an interesting question of, how the role will overlap with other roles. But
And
yeah,
I
it's
think
not
that
scary. It's exciting.
yeah, I was gonna say for some people it's scary and they decide, this is it. It's time for me to leave this role and go to something else, and like totally different. And other people embrace that change and just adapt to it. Become product analysts, for example, or maybe they move on to project managers, or maybe they become a BA slash a project manager. Um, so there certainly are. I think the cool thing about being a business analyst is that there are so many opportunities, it can branch out into.
Yeah.
And that just gives us this broad selection of choice. So if you're not good in one area, you can go somewhere else and expand, right?
Yeah, I've read an amazing piece of analysis a couple of years ago that was looking at the evolution of project professionals. And basically, what the authors were arguing was that we see a lot of blending of roles.
Mm,
So their prediction is in future there will be less specialist roles within delivery and more generalist roles that just work together and do
mm.
whatever needs to be done to unblock progress.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I like that idea. I think I definitely see some symptoms of it.
cool. So we've
Yeah.
got one role that can do different things. Now, if the BA title were to say disappear tomorrow, just for argument's sake,
Okay.
what skills do you think would still make someone indispensable as
That
as um, as a BA without a title? If you
that's
had,
easy. It's a very easy question. So I'm a big advocate of separating the role of a business analyst from the skill of business analysis. Right?
okay.
The role, it may change, the titles change, right? Even today we've got a whole bunch of different titles for people doing business analysis, but the skill of business analysis is indispensable. People use it everywhere in project management, product, general management, any management really, or in roles like, I don't know, sales, solution design, UX design. People use business analysis to understand what is needed, to assess options, how to achieve it, and then to evaluate if they've actually achieved what they wanted to achieve. And that is the core skill that is not going to go away anytime soon. Without this, we just don't know what we're doing, right?
Mm,
We're flying blind. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm very positive
cool.
about this. Yeah, I think
Nice.
this skill is going to
I,
stay.
I like to use the term also analyst or analysis because then you've got these subsections, right? Like business analysis is a subsection of analysis. Product analysis, subsection of analysis, or a analysis is a subsection of analysis. So you can just use the word analysis, and hey, you can go even more broad, possibly.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, fair enough. So which BA responsibility do you think is most undervalued by organizations today?
Um, Yeah, well, I mean, it's an interesting question because it comes down to how you define BA responsibilities, right? And as we discussed, it's definitely something that is not set in stone and really depends on the operational model. I like to think about a business analyst role as combination of three pillars. There is scope management, change management, and quality management. So I think scope management is probably the easiest one, right? It's easy to understand because I don't think I will make a mistake if I say this. Every business analyst in the world doing business analysis is involved in scope management. That is articulating requirements, managing backlogs, producing any sorts of specifications, or I don't know, doing traceability analysis and other things. So we manage scope. It's what most organizations hire business analysts to do in the first place. But it's not the only thing that people are doing as business analysts or maybe should be doing as business analysts. There is an element of quality management, which again, I think it's not something that people call out immediately when they think about business analysis, well, the connection to quality, but I think it is something that a lot of people naturally still do. Um, it I guess it comes naturally from things like defining acceptance criteria, defining the boundaries of acceptance for this solution, what good looks like. And then it naturally flows into things like supporting or facilitating user acceptance or other validation activities. So quality management happens, but the undervalued one is probably the change management aspect. And when I say change management, I do not mean changes in scope or in requirements. I'm talking about broader organizational change. So a business analyst role in change management, when overlooked, it causes gaps in bigger programs of work, and gaps that are often not easy to bridge or to even identify. So what I mean is, let's say we're a big business, we're funding an initiative to do something. That initiative will have expected benefits, KPIs, all those things defined on the high level, what we call business requirements from the business as a whole. But then those business requirements, they need to be traced down to individual parts of that initiative or of that project. Let's say, I don't know, if we fund an initiative to increase customer satisfaction, right? We know that when the initiative is done, we expect the CSAT score to go up. But that will be broken down into dozens or hundreds of features that we implement across multiple IT systems and business processes. So if business analysis is done right, each of those features and smaller changes will not only have a definition of functional scope, like what is it we're going to do, but also a definition of a positive impact that this particular change will deliver that should accumulate across all the smaller changes to deliver the ultimate outcome. So if we start failing to deliver those impactful changes, we will catch it early on. So this ability to kind of guide and measure the organizational change ideally should sit with someone who is close to delivery, but also who has the eyes on the bigger goal. And a business analyst, by definition, is the person who is very well positioned to perform that role. Unfortunately, I think that is the task and the skill that is often not valued enough and often not used enough in the businesses.
Scope, quality, and change. It sounds like a triangle from PMI, but they have like schedule, time, or time. I can't remember. It was quality, scope, something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's good.
Oh, it does,
Actually,
doesn't it?
yeah, and I think you're right. Like especially if a BA is working on a project and there is a project manager type of thing, they need to be able to think like the PM thinks, right? They need to what creates value, scope, quality, change, right? And if we don't understand that, it becomes very difficult to deliver anything, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, awesome. Well, thanks Igor for joining us and for answering a few of these questions. I think what's really cool is that you don't see the BA role as just this sort of fixed role definition. It's always this evolving role to adapt to organizational needs. So I think that's a really good takeaway for today. So thanks again, Igor, for being with us.
Yeah, thanks again for inviting me, Marcus.
You're welcome. Just want to point out that Igor's got some courses on Udemy. You probably still do, I suspect, since last
Yes,
we spoke.
I still do. I still do. Yeah.
Okay, great. So if anyone's interested in Igor's courses, go check them out on Udemy.
Thanks, Marcus.
You're welcome. All right, take care. Thanks.